Hello, hello, and welcome back to the E.G.C, the Erudite Games and Comics. Now, we made it back to another recommendation week. I hope your reading was as good as mine, or if you had a great week, that would be also good too. Now, we have a couple of comics to go through, and then I will be talking about my recommendations because there's some that they're not really much of my recommendations, but they are out. They are out there. But we will get to those first and then go to my recommendations. But I still think the comics that I'm about to talk about still aren't bad. It's just not too sure. But I will also explain that as I go through this video. Now, first up, we actually have Transformers, the movie, issue number 3. So, obviously, this is just a reprint of all the Transformer comic adaptation from forever ago. I did miss last month to talk about this, and it's because my comic book store actually didn't have, or by the time I was able to get there, uh, issue 2 was already taken from the shelves. But luckily, they did have another issue 2, and so I was able to pick it up. But the for the movie or for the comic adaptation, the writer is Ralph Macchio, and there are many different art is done by Don Perlin. So, like I said, this is just the movie adaptation, the comic adaptation of the movie. The movie is the original piece. I do want to make sure like that is understood. The movie did come out first. The movie didn't copy the movie. The comic copied the movie. That's what I meant. But this is kind of it. Literally, this kind of sets everything that goes on. If you watch the movie, honestly, my honest opinion is you should probably just watch the movie. You get to me, you actually get more stuff. You get the whole animation. I think the comic book is fine. It's done nice. I still like the art, especially for given the time of what they had, and I honestly think that this art was awesome. So, but there's nothing really too much to explain. If you've seen this, this comic series is mainly for comic book or Transformers fans or someone that was interested in the movie and just wants to get the adaptation. The have the each issue, and now the third issue is here, which is the conclusion towards it all. So of course we get Galvatron. We get to see Hot Rod turn into Rodimus Prime. We get more Unicron. So everything's different, or everything is essentially the same, besides the leadership of Matrix. So obviously, that is different from than what the movie adaptation was, but which is fine because this they did have a version of this in the comic run, not in some of the older comic stuff. So the leadership of Matrix has changed multiple times. So to see it being this way doesn't really like throw anything. It's just something that has been done. But all in all, I would say only really get this if you are looking for just want the adaptation. So this is Transformers the movie issue 3. It's the ending for that. So there will be no more of that one. Now next up that I wanted to talk about was Fort Psycho issue 1. Now this one I did get on Free Comic Book Day, and definitely let me know if you read this on Free Comic Book Day or in decided to pick this up. But I thought it was interesting enough where if I saw it, I'll consider it. It did come out. It did come out this week or well, last week, and honestly, I thought this was good, or it was good enough. It was still keeps me interested. I won't say it was good enough for me to put on my list, but I will definitely be curious about how issue 2 is. Issue 2 will probably be the decider if I put this one on my list. The writing is done by Matt Kinnett, Kindit, not too sure for the last name, and Brian Hurt for the art. So this is going on about how the characters that we're following and not following, they are all mercenaries. They are mercenaries for hire. They're just here to take out whoever they are hired to take out. So this all goes down. They all get cast, or a lot of them go into hiding because they're being hunted down to get captured. They're being blamed and put in prison. But the prison really is like a paradise island because these are government people that hire them to take out. So, like, they know that they're not wrong, but they're wrong. They're wrong for what they did, but they're not wrong. So they just needed a finger to blame. Like, hey, it's your fault, but this is what you get instead. The main, so we do. I was about to talk about something, but we'll save that part for the next bit after this. We do get an introduction of other characters. They are all forced to take a drug. If they don't take the drug in a couple days, they die by a random poison. We don't see it, but it is confirmed by one of the characters that this says take the drug or take the pills to stop the poison from ending your life. But the main character we're following, they all get to sit down at like a little campfire and they all start talking about how they got end up getting caught because they know what they all did because they were all mercenary for hires and some of them worked with each other. But the main character doesn't really talk. We do end up finding out later that he was always good at hiding. It's just he messed up this one time in the at a bar, so they found him, caught him. But the reason why he's there is different than possibly we don't know, but it's possibly different than everyone else. He is there to look out for a guy called hold on, it's actually I actually did mess that up. Bishop. We were looking for a guy called Bishop. That's my fault. So towards the end, and Bishop supposedly died, but it's a lie. They find it out, and is now his job is to go there and take out Bishop. And when he does that, we are pretty sure he does not get free. He's not going to get free. I already how they're already making us feel like he's not going to get free. He's just going to be stuck there for however long. It could be for the rest of his days, or it could be for an X amount of years. The sentencing for every single person is not actually explained. We might get it later on in further issues. I'm not too sure yet. But after he unalized Bishop, these people that have him going there to take him out, saying like, "Oh, well, your brother and his nephew, or your nephew, his son, will be essentially okay. But if you don't, I don't think they'll be breathing for too much longer." So he's pretty much at like, I have no choice. He's because he's doing it for his family. So it's understandable why he's all into himself and like super secretive about who he is. So, like I said, it's interesting. Not too sure. Definitely let me know down in the comments below if you guys are reading this. Definitely, I'm curious. But that's Fort Psycho issue number 1. So next up, we have another new issue 1, and this one will probably go on my list. So we have Masters of the Universe. So this is a Genesis. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Master of the Universe Genesis, but I mean that's for right now. That's what I'm going to call it. This is a issue number 1 done by Dark Horse. So this is the writings done by Rich Doek, I believe that's how you say his name, Doek, and the art is done by Gavin Smith. So this is a brand new series. So if you don't really know who the master or the whole He-Man universe, you can start by picking up this one. This one will be a introduction for it all because we start with the Beastman and we get some of the Merfolk. Of course, they hate each other. They're constantly at war, and then this is really more of an introduction for Skeletor. So it's all starts to place everything in line, and we get to see Skeletor about talking about his backstory with I believe it was Modak. Hold on, it's going to be explained real soon because he starts talking about his past. That's Etheria. That's him. Aha. It was Hodak. So Hodak, which is Skeletor's old master, which we all know Skeletor, he obviously wanted to rebel against him because Hodak took all the credit for everything that Skeletor did. Of course, it didn't work out the way Skeletor got wanted to. He thought he was gonna die, but he ended up getting banished to wherever he got sent to, and now it essentially catches up to speed because he was training to get his powers or to more hone his powers because he had power. So training his skills, and he ends up running. That's how he runs to the Beastman, and he wants to take down the Beastman and the Merfolk to attack Castle Grayskull in what I believe the place is called Asteria. Of course, we end with He-Man because at the time He-Man's not. He doesn't have the power yet, so he thinks Castle Grayskull will be easy pickings, and we're probably going to run into that next next issue. So I will definitely be probably picking this one up. So definitely more seems like Master of the Universe than what we have been getting. But definitely worth checking out. Issue number 1, Masters of the Universe, Genesis. So those are the comics that I was reading and wasn't too sure. The only one that I'm sure about is Master of the Universe going on my list. But now we are on to the ones that are on my list and how did they do? So first up, we have Mask issue 3. So this one is done by Dan Waters, writing, and Pi Par on art. Yes, Pi Par, I believe. So leads or starts off, sorry, not leads, starts off right where issue 2 ended. So they destroyed the Cybertronian tech, and then General Mayhem blew up their submarine. So General Mayhem's still there. This issue, I honestly didn't think it was not really all that. I did like the mask, helmets, and all their powers, and we do get to see some of their vehicles transform. Like Mayhem's transforms helicopter transforms into a jet, and Tracker's DeLorean can fly. So of course we get them fighting. He's playing distraction while are the other two come back to shore and not being shot down by Mayhem. So that part was interesting. Like I said, I do like the mass abilities and all the suits. We get a cool splash page, but this is not really too informational until like the end. Towards the end, we just more see what General Mayhem is doing behind the scenes, what's going on with him and his crew. This was more of just trying to tie in loose ends from the last issue. So not too big of a recommend here, but it is continuing the story. Like I said, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's really that good. But still worth reading if you are part of the series, just to see what Mayhem is doing towards the end, and which will help lead on into the next issue. And it could be, I would say, towards the end, it probably will lead into a better issue next month. So issue 4 will probably definitely be worth checking out. Issue 3, it's there. So it's continuing the story. So issue 3, The Mask. So next up, we actually have Red Sonja, She Devil with the Sword. So as we know, I've been reading this and been loving it. Writing's done by Roy McConville, and art is done by Pablo de Bonis. So in this one, we know from the previous issue that we have all the rebels that want to take out the king sneaking into the castle. We all know that we know the uprising was going to start this issue. If you read the last issue like I have, we all know it was going to start. So of course it starts. No surprise there. So the king is all shocked and he wants to kill the girl, the Atreya, the one with magical powers, because he knows that the rebels want her, but they don't really know why they or what they're going to use her for, because we all know they want her because she has a tune for magic, but why they want to use it, we actually do find out towards the end of this issue. And oh boy, it was I don't think anyone besides Sonya is good after reading the end of this one. But of course, the one where who has the metal nose because it got bashed in by Sonya. He is the one that's supposed to carry out taking on killing Atreus, and the king's like, "Oh, Sonya's in the way. Oh well, take her out too, right?" He gets his just dessert. I'm not going to show you how, but I'm just going to let you know he gets what coming to him. Yeah. Oh, whew, almost thought, almost thought I spoiled it. That's Space Ghost Hercules. Definitely, obviously, Space Ghost. I'm picking it up. Okay. Yeah. So, of course, now they run into more of the stuff. Now, rest of this is kind of more spoilers. Atreus does side with the rebels, and they you just didn't think, girl. You just didn't think. So Sonya has a lot on her plate just off of this issue. The king don't care about honoring any respects because it was like, oh well, if I kill you before anyone else really finds out, who cares? And then the situation that the rebels are causing with Atreya, it just makes it all a whole bunch worse. And the magic part she has to deal with first, and then deal with the king later. Like I said, I honestly don't think any of these people are good besides Sonya. I think they're all evil and they all have some kind of hatred, and none of them really thought about all the consequences that is about to happen. So definitely worth checking out. It's been worth checking out since the first issue, but this is Red Sonja, She Devil with a Sword, issue 4. So next up, we actually have another great. So these next, just like Red Sonja, these last 3 are great. Definitely, I think all of them are very good recommends. But the one I want to talk about right now is Ben 10, issue number 4. Obviously, we see Zombozo. If you watch the show, I mean, I had to look up some of the names because I am forgetting because it's been a pretty good while. But after this, like seeing Zombozo and seeing it and rethinking his name, I was like, man, I remember this guy really well now. So it's still good. Ben 10, this I like the comic run because it changed from like E to everyone to M to mature. So the writing's done by Stephen T. Segal and the art is done by Robert Carey. So we start out with Ben Tennyson having nightmares of Zombozo, but he doesn't know who that is yet. And he keeps like having these dreams of being captured and being controlled by these zombie guys, and then he like has a nightmare, or when the worst was about to happen, he like wakes up. So of course he thinks he will be fine because he has the Omnitrix, because it was like, oh well, what is anyone gonna do when I can have 4 arms or do whatever I want? And Gwen over here is telling him like, just because you have power, don't mean you know how to use it. Is essentially what she says, because she humbles him when he turns into 4 arms. He humbles him when he turns into heat blast. He humbles him when he turns into X I believe it's XL8R. I can't. It's the speed one. It's the blue speed one. She just keeps humbling him every time. So I know his ego is just destroyed. Like, and he doesn't even get any time to relax because they go right into the carnival after she gets. Well, this is before she humbles the speed alien one, but they get invited to the carnival. She turns into this, or Ben turns into the speed alien. Gwen just humbles him again, but then Zombozo like does something and he hypnotizes all the adults, and he's making Grandpa Max over here like seeing things. And we do get to see Stinkfly because Ben thinks he can just turn into the alien and just save the day and everything will be okay. So he turns into Stinkfly, which I 100% had to get this incentive cover. It was very nice. So, of course, we get Stinkfly, but he can't save the day because he just thinks that if I could just turn into a strong alien, I'll win. But that's just not how it works, Ben. It's not how it works. Of course, you have Grandpa Max fighting the control, because we all know Grandpa Max isn't just a normal run-of-the-mill grandpa. He's been fighting aliens all the time. So we leave off with a cliffhanger. Can Ben actually realize that turning into a strong alien is not just the only thing that you can do. I mean, he got lucky with the whole cannonball situation, but hopefully he actually realizes that this is not just the only thing that the Omnitrix is like. Just because you have the Omnitrix doesn't mean you can win every battle. So I really hope he finds that out in the next issue and hopefully saves the day. But we have to wait and find out. But for you to know exactly what happens and to Grandpa Max, gotta get issue number 4, Ben 10. So we have another one coming up, and a little sad, and obviously I'm about to explain that. We have the DC crossover with Sonic the Hedgehog Metal Legion. This is issue number 4, and it's sad because we only get one more issue because it's only going to be 5 issues, making it like a total of 10. So the writing's done by Ian Flynn, and the art is done by Adam Bryce Thomas. So we all know what's going on. Or I was gonna say Lex, Eggman. Eggman saw the double cross coming from Lex Luthor, so Eggman had his own Metal Legion of Doom ready, and that's who the Sonic characters get to fight. And Lex makes one more, or I keep saying Lex, Eggman. He's wearing Lex's uniform, so Jesus, come give me a break. Shadow, because everyone had someone to fight besides Shadow, and Shadow has to take on the new Metal Nightfall. That is cool. Do get to like it. So obviously I've been liking all these little like crossovers, these or the Sonic version of all the DC characters, and the now we get in the metal versions. So this is cool. So I really been liking everything. Now of course, what are the Justice League fighting? The Justice League is taking on Eggman himself. Now it's not a walk in the park because you got to remember Eggman takes on the Sonic characters all the time. So him fighting multiple fights at once is something that he's used to. And now he got Lex tech on top of his own tech. So he's actually really strong and pretty hard to deal with. We get a nice, cool splash page. So definitely been liking this series. I thought the art is still awesome. Like I said, it's a sad day because we're not getting all of we're only getting one more issue, so it's very sad. So the Team Sonic DC and the Justice League are having their great fights. Definitely very cool going on. But Lex actually has his own plans, and but it's okay. Team 2, which I'm gonna show you this one towards the end, definitely is. I mean, the actual Legion Doom is gonna have their money to deal with because Team 2 is Supergirl, Cream, Blaze the Cat, Starfire, Aquaman, Big the Cat, Shoe, and Crypto. So the actual Legion of Doom has to tangle with them. I don't know if it's gonna go too well because we got 3 super or 4, 5, Jesus, 5 super strong people who are very strong. Of course, we got Black Manta. He's been waiting to take on Aquaman, but so that's I think next issue really is going to knock it out the park. Really done, really good. Of course, we get Supergirl Part 1 for Kingdom of Zod, but definitely worth reading, worth checking out. One more issue to go, and it'll be the end of this one. So very sad, but also very good. Very good run. So now we got my last one, my pick of the week, and it is White Sky, issue number 5. So this one is written by William Harms, and art is done by J.P. Marvin Gaw. I say his name different, and I believe Mavin Gaw is the closest what I will be to getting correct. I don't know. I really hope I'm getting his name right. But I know I found out JP stands for Jean Paul. So there's something. Uh so we start out with this one. We get David. So we don't get much David in. So David is Violet's dad. Actually, oh no, I don't have the or this cover doesn't have Violet on the cover. But David, Violet's dad, we don't get much about him, but we do get a lore, and we find out that his wife actually passed away from cancer, and she became one of these spirits. So we now know for a fact, because we could have always speculated that the spirits could have just taken human form or have a human look to cause like more of them to, I guess, to trick people. But these people are actually, or we now know for a fact that these people are actual spirits of real people who used to exist in the past few years. We also get to find another lore drop is that this has actually only been going on for 5 years. It's very crazy, very coincidental. Issue 5, we find out it's going on for 5 years. So this apocalyptic setting has not actually been going on for a while. And so that's all we really get from David. We find out about the 5 years through on Violet's side, which now we actually get to see Violet. Of course, we've seen from the last issue, this jerk shot Walter, and all these spirits are really there, to eat all three of them. But we did find out in their conversation over here that these spirits are being, because they're already attracted to eating humans, but Walter, he's more considered what they consider a medium. So, and in this medium, or him being as a medium, we get to see, or we get to learn that they more like sense him out, and they really want to eat him more than they just want to normally eat these people, because they're like a, or how this guy explains to saying that people like Walter are like full course meals to them, where we're just a morning snack. So of course they have to deal with this, and we know that salt works, but these spirits don't really invade into buildings. It takes the what they call the revenants, which are the spirits with the hoods on them, so the more mysterious spirits. So the mysterious spirits, they can tear through metal, but they can't pierce through salt. We also learn through this jerk that her dad, David, Violet's dad, is actually being taken to Utah. So she now knows of a direction. But we also know that David could be dying next issue. We don't know for sure if they're going to keep him alive and keep going. Because I actually found out in this issue that she's the main protagonist. I thought David and Violet were both, but that's fine for only focusing on one. So now I'm thinking David probably is not going to live too much longer. If he lives through next issue, he might end up dying in issue 7 or whatever. But anyways, Violet now knows where her dad is. So she now has a direction of where to go. And the reason that they want to go to Utah is because Utah, it has a whole bunch of salt mines that, that they capture David and many other people that they turn into slaves to mine all the salt. So, of course, salt is like the most important thing right now, because they help stop all the or help keep away the spirits, or we'll call them the ghost spirits and all this. So all in all, this is good. Now, since he does know where to go, obviously after Violet and Walter, you gotta read to see how they get out of this one. But we also did want to talk about one more person. Of course, we see the remnants up here, but there is a new contender in all of this, and actually I'm a little further ahead. It's actually back one more page, right here. This guy. So we have a new kind of spirit, because we know the remnants are the one more covered. We know these random flesh-eating spirits. We know that they're the normal ones, and we have this one. This one is specifically looking for Walter. He knows who Walter is. We don't really get much of the backstory connection between these two, but maybe we might get an explanation in the later on, which I'm fine not getting an instant explanation. I think that's completely fine. We don't have to get lore dropped every little thing at once. So I do like to be, kept in the dark, because helps read out good fan theories. Definitely, we have a new contender, and he's extremely powerful. He's he's a more subconscious spirit. He knows exactly what's going on and what's happening. And it seems like some of these lesser spirits kind of fear him. So of course there is a hierarchy and all of that. But that was issue 5 of White Sky. Now, of course, I had to pick up this issue right here. Now, I did want to talk about this real quick because I do pick up multiple so sometimes it kind of depends because I do pick up multiple issues if I really like them, like White Sky, or for example, when I showed Stinkfly for Ben 10, I do collect. So let me know if you want me to show more of the issues that I got. Or if you're just fine with just the one, or either or, not too picky. Because, like for example, I would definitely love to show off this one, because I've been really liking the whole DC crossover with the Sonic. So definitely let me know if that is more of something you want me to do. But as we come towards the end of the video, that's all I had to recommend. Let me know if there's any comic book series, doesn't matter, Marvel, DC, Indie, if you want me to check out and read to see if I'll put on my recommendation, to help put it under my radar. But if you have anything else, you could anything about the video you liked or any of the other comics, definitely put it in the comments down below. And but as usual, have a good one. Stay safe, be well, and actually kind of already messed up, but have a good one.